Hey up everyone, it's Rory from NHS Shadows. Welcome to episode 20. Today we are going to go in, we're going to talk real, we're going to go places in regards to mental health, the younger next generation, and our guest background story. And I really want us to just focus and lean on this and make sure that we're staying open-minded. I feel like our guest and I are going to talk about the lockdown as well as rejection and what that can do to our mindsets and stuff. So yeah, just hope you enjoy this episode. I'm buzzing for this one. And yeah, I'm just like, I can feel the energy coming from me. Just off camera with my guest, I sense there's going to be some fireworks popping off. So buzzing. Before we do introduce our guest, I want to say a couple of things. So one is that we are a CIC. So what that is it's not quite a charity. And we're looking to raise money so we can eventually free ourselves, get there in the community more, and reach more blokes to support them, transform their mental health. So the two platforms that we have are Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee. Patreon is like a monthly kind of subscription thing where you become a patron of Enlighten the Shadows. So I'm gonna put that on the screen right now for you guys, and it'll give you some details about what that looks like. There's 3 different tiers. Whatever you feel comfortable about blessing us with and becoming a partner, crack on with it. It will explain on there all of the things that we want to get up to and are getting up to. So you're wondering, well, why should I give my money? It will fully explain it on our Patreon site. If you're feeling like, oh no, man, I'll just give you a one-off donation, brilliant. We'll be extremely honored that you do that. So that is done on Buy Me a Coffee. So Buy Me a Coffee, I only found out about it like a couple of months ago. It's quality. It's just like the principle of going out and buying someone a coffee. So like a £5 or whatever, if you have expensive coffee. So yeah, just put it on the donation. I think you can enter more, but you know, £5's fine. Whatever you can do, we'll be absolutely blessed for that. So that's coming up on the screen as well. Well, already is in the screen. And lastly, social media. We are on Insta and Twitter. Here's the handle @EnlightenTheSH1. And throughout the program, we're going to plug our private men's Facebook group that you can join and you can get real and open about your mental health. So without me going on anymore, we have on episode 20 today, our guest is Josh Burkitt. He's a young lad, nearly a bloke. So we want people on here that can relate to the next generation and coming in to adulthood. So it's very important that I think that we listen to what this lad has to say. I'm really excited to hear his views. And yeah, I don't want to go on too much more about what he does because I think he's going to roll with that. So Josh, mate, how you doing?
Hi everyone, you all right? Good evening to you all.
Nice one, man. Thanks for joining us. I've got me a little special merchandise going off as well here, mate.
Oh, that, mate. You'll have to get one of them there. Looks spot on, that does.
Yeah, do you know what? It's proper busy, but my mate who's on the Enlighten team, he got them sorted, and I was like, these are sick, man. I think he used Vistaprint. Not that we're what's the word, promoting their merch, but yeah.
Isn't a sponsored video, is it?
No, this is not a sponsored video. Yeah, I sat in Starbucks on special episode 5, I believe, with the boys, and the YouTube thing said it clocked somehow copyrights of like Starbucks. I was like, whoa, what the frick? I'm not promoting them. I'm just saying.
I know, it's crazy.
Chilling.
Yeah, everything's crazy.
And then we did an Insta video, and it was a class song that I like, and it like blocked it when you have not got the rights. And we were like, whoa, sorry, I've done it before.
Don't want any trouble. Don't want any trouble.
I bought the track. Chill.
Chill.
But yeah, man, buzzing about this one, and we've had some right issues, so I think this is gonna be a banger. There's power cuts popping off in Ruddington where I live, on and off. So I just want to thank you for bearing with us.
Second time looking into it. Let's go.
Yes, mate. Yeah. Now, whoever's shutting the power off, they're scared. People are gonna hear some truth.
They're too worried about it.
Yes, mate. So just for our viewers, we'll just talk a little bit about your background, particularly not to bore them, but in football. And for those of you don't you go off it, chill. It's not we're not gonna freaking rant on about football.
Not just football.
Not just football. We're gonna talk about Josh's background, but it's very, very important because we're gonna talk about rejection. I sense in this episode. So yeah, Josh, mate, can you just share with the viewers what you get up to?
So I play football full time. I'm only 16 years old, so I'm currently at Chesterfield Football Club, which is obviously local to Nottingham, local to Newark, where I live. So yeah, I started off playing just with my local side in a local league in Newark with a team called RHP. At the end of the age of 13, 14, which is quite late, really. So obviously, like a lot of people I know were going to academies. Some were getting rejected. So I felt a little bit left out because I never got that opportunity to go to an academy. But then when I got older, I developed quicker than other people did, and then I got offered a place to sign at Boston United.
Oh, the Pilgrims.
Yeah, the Pilgrims. Yeah.
You know what? I lie not. That's where I was born, bro.
Was it?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I don't shout about it though. I don't shout about it.
Don't shout about it, mate. Nothing to shout about. No, I was so I went to Boston for 2 years. Had some great times in Boston. Played against some of the biggest clubs in the world. Played against Liverpool. Went to Man City. Been all over the place. America, Arizona, everywhere. So I had a lot of good experiences with Boston. And after getting offered to stay on for 3 years with Boston, I decided I wanted a step up or a bigger new challenge.
Yeah.
So that's when I was looking to head to Bradford City. Everything was looking to go really, really good with Bradford. And then obviously COVID hit, restrictions on travel, stuff, you know what I mean? All this negative stuff, trouble sorting out the contract, all sorts. It was just killing everything because of COVID. So eventually I had an agent who came to me, said he wanted to represent me free of charge. And the agent actually was ex-England international Gary Charles. So he's played for England, he's played for Forest, Aston Villa.
He used to play for Villa, yeah. He was like a right back, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's a right back. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Gary Charles.
And he's suffered a lot with mental health as well. He's had lots of issues with mental health. He's lots of interviews with him, openly admitting his struggle with mental health, which is really, really crazy because back then, I know I'm not saying he's old, he'll kill me if he says this, but back then, mental health in sport wasn't even heard of.
No, it wasn't, was it?
And he just come out and say he suffered with mental health issues and suffered with alcoholism and stuff like that is a big thing. So obviously I have a lot of respect for him for that and decided he would be the right person to represent me, which obviously then got me the move to Chesterfield. So yeah, everything's going really, really well with football at the minute.
That's class, mate. That's really good to hear. I kind of relate to that because I grew up with obviously big football, and I was at Peterborough United and Forest academies as a kid. So what we want to talk about, and this is applicable. So again, as I said earlier, fellas, don't get turned off because it's football. No, this is applicable to like every area of life and jobs, whatever your passions and your hobbies are. This is totally applicable. So when I was a little youth, and I was little, and this is precisely the issue.
You got told you was too small, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I got the Lionel Messi. Yeah, of course you did.
Classic. It's a classic. I know so many people have had exactly the same problem, literally being told they are too small to play football, and it's onto the subject of rejection again. It's one of them. If I got told, luckily I've never had the problem yet that I'm too small to play football because I'm 6'4", so I'm all right. But if anybody ever said you're too small to play football, the mental effect of that, for me, if that was me personally, would honestly knock everything back. Because it's like, if they tell you you're too slow, or if they tell you you're slightly overweight, but if you're small, there's literally nothing you can do about that. You can't magically go in the gym for 6 months and come out 3 foot taller. So that must have been horrible. Just that feel of rejection and feel that you're not good enough must have been, like I say, have a big effect on you and how you felt about yourself for a short period of time.
Yeah. And that's the thing, mate. Like, they even said, I'm a good footballer. Like, oh, yeah, you're good on the ball. You're a great finisher. You're fast. But it was like, but you're too small. And it was like, hearing that as, you know, a 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old, all the way up till I was about 15, 16. And then I went like semi-pro route and then went out to America on a scholarship. Like, it's just absolutely freaking devastating. It's like you say, it's like being told you can't do something because the color of your skin or the color of your hair. You can't help. I couldn't help that I was just short from average age.
That's like I said, I never thought of that kind of connection before, but it is the same as someone saying, "Oh, the color of your skin or the color of your hair or the size of your feet." It's literally something as silly as that. And it's just, like I say, things like that, in my opinion, shouldn't be allowed. If I like the old saying, if you're good enough, you're good enough. And it doesn't matter if you're 9'2" or 3'2", it doesn't matter. You've got,
They even say age. I'd say age as well. So like you get people saying, "Oh, you're too young, you're too young."
Yeah,
And it's
that's
like,
another one.
Really?
If you're good enough, you're old enough.
That's the saying.
You know what I mean?
The saying.
You know what I mean? If you're good enough, you're old enough. And it's like anything else. It's when I'm getting to the age I'm at now, we obviously in the next, I'm the first year kind of scholar kind of thing. So in the next year or 2 years' time, if you want to be pushing for that first team, I guarantee you, if any of us lads get a chance to go up with the first team, and let's say we're training with them, we're doing well, we don't feel out of place, I guarantee you, if we said to like a gaffer, "Oh, why aren't we playing? You're too young." That's what you're going to get. You're never going to be told you're not good enough, otherwise you won't be there. That's what you've always got to remember. If you won't ever be told you're not a good footballer, otherwise you won't be in that position. But you might be told you're too young or whatever. And it's just like you say, it's honestly, it's mind blowing.
Yeah, and so you must have had mates, as you alluded to earlier, that have literally been told similar things. So like, can you just talk through with the viewers, like experience you've seen and known, like, and we, again, to people, you can totally relate to this, to any world life thing.
Yeah. It's any form of life. It's any form of industry, like a job. So like, for example, I've got two of my best friends who both played for the same side with me on a Sunday morning a few years ago. Going to my mate called Manny, my best mate called Manny Norkett. He went to all these academies, Lincoln, Grimsby, all these football league academies, got told by the lot of them, "You know what I mean, mate? You're too small. You're not quite there. You're not quite what we need." Today, is at Man United, playing for Man United. He's playing for you know what I mean, the biggest, I hate to say it, and it hurts me to say it, but the biggest club in the world.
Yeah, I'm a Leeds fan.
He got set.
I don't like saying it, but you got to say it is.
They are the biggest club in the world.
Yeah.
And he had them setbacks where he got told by, no disrespect, but by Grimsby Town he wasn't good enough. But instead of letting that, he will say, "Oh, it didn't affect me." But deep down, I know it affected him, being told you're not good enough.
Yeah.
But it's how you react to that. You can either go into it's okay to feel, "Oh, you know what I mean?" Like if I get told I'm not good enough, it affects your confidence. I don't care who you are. But it's how you react to that. Do you react to that by going to get a little bit of help by your mate? Going to get a little help by someone like ourselves coming to us, or you know what I mean, or whatever. Talking to someone like you who's gone through that same kind of rejection stage, trying to get advice, trying to better yourself so that then when the opportunity comes up again, you can do well. And he's gone from being told at 15 he wasn't good enough for Grimsby Town to a few months later. Yeah, exactly. To a few months later, being asked to go. He went on trial with Man City. Man City said, "You're not good enough." 2 weeks ago, he scored for the under-18s and under-16 against Man City. What does that say? You know what I mean? Imagine that feeling of how he's had them knockbacks. He could have just sat down and moaned about it and suffered like he did, but he went and put the work in, and now look, he's got his rewards. And it's like my other friend as well, Theo. He went to, this is another crazy situation, about 11, 12, he went to Nottingham Forest, but like the development centre, which was held at Grantham.
Like that's where I used to play, grassroots at Grantham at the Mears.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. So he went there. He was there for 6 weeks. They told him he wasn't good enough. They said, "You're not good enough to even be at the Forest grassroots." That knocked his confidence that far back. We didn't see him for a few weeks at a local side. We didn't see him. He was unbelievable, great footballer. And now he's a science athlete sponsored by New Balance. And he's got a 2-year contract with Sheffield United. So it's just like anything else. You know what I mean? He's gone from being told by, it's like anything in life, it's opinions. Like you hear the saying, I hate to bring it up again, but football, it's a game of opinions. You might watch me and think I'm fantastic. Someone else might watch me and think I'm overrated. It's that kind of thing. It's like everything in life. You know what I mean? Somebody, you might go for a job. Someone might say, "Oh, you're no good at this job." But then someone else might watch you and think, "I tell you something, he's really good at what he does." You know what I mean? It's that.
So this is fire.
Yeah.
So like, do you think? Because I was going to ask you a minute ago, but I was like, "Nah, sure, let him talk." I was going to ask you. So what is that subtle defining factor with our mental health, with blokes, as you know, and our psyche, where you know you've been rejected and you feel like crap, and you have a bit of a pity party, and it's valid, But then you get to a certain point, as you said, like your mate, like you get to a certain point and you decide to like get back up. You decide to swing it on its head. So like, would you say that factor, what that sort of thing might be, is the fact that you accept that it's an opinion and not a fact?
Yeah, exactly. That's another big thing. It's an opinion, not a fact. That's how you've got to look at it. It's not someone saying, if someone says to you, "Oh, you're not very good," or "You're too small," or "You're not very good at football." Well, no, they're not saying that's what they're saying. That's not a fact. It's not, this is a fact, you are not very good at football. That's what they think. But then, like you say, you might know 4 or 5 other people who think you're absolutely amazing. So like you say, I do honestly believe what you said. I think it is a matter of facts and opinions, and what is a fact and what is an opinion. And the majority of the time when anyone comments about you, it's an opinion. There's very, very rarely which someone will say a fact about somebody. So it's like anything else. It's really interesting how people look at it.
My gosh. Oh, I think we're going somewhere. Like literally, like rejection, facts or opinions. Like, and you can apply it to anything, big time. Like
any way of life.
Yeah. So like we tragically lost a young lad, Jeremy Wisten. He was at Man City Academy, 17, I believe, and sadly took his life. Can you just like enlighten our viewers about, you know, background of that story, anything that you know, or any contacts you might have, of what we can learn from that in terms of like the rejection, fact, opinion, so that we can encourage our viewers, because there might be blokes watching and go, well, I just feel like him. I feel hopeless. I feel helpless.
Yeah, it's obviously with Jez, it's obviously tragic with which like how it all happened, going from being promised, people say, oh, he wasn't promised anything, but being promised that pathway of playing at the biggest club, or the richest club in the world, let's say, and being on this pathway, dreaming every day. He's been there since he was 7, 8 years old, dreaming of hitting the top. And when that's been your reality for 7 years, and you get told, you've been here for that long, that's it now. You can't even go back there the next day. That's it. It's like the last day of school. That's it. You're not going to go back there in a day's time. That's it. You're gone. And there's nothing, like the people I spoke to, I know a few lads who were involved with like Jeremy in a more personal, like knew him very, very well. And they were saying how they think it's really, really wrong how a club can just get rid of someone like that. A club who's got that much money, why can't they say to him, right, you know what I mean? If you've been at Man City, you could easily get into a League One, League Two football club. You could easily get into any level of football club and earn really, really good money. But why don't they help him with that? Instead of just saying goodbye, that's it now.
Yeah. And
saying like not telling him even a reason, just, yeah, that's it. We're not offering you another contract. Shake his hand and goodbye. Why don't they say, right, we're gonna, what are you interested in? Oh, I've always fancied being a physio. Oh, well, we'll get you. How about you come back here then in a month's time, and you do a bit of physio work with, you know what I mean, stuff like that. Why don't they give each player and each person, and even members of staff at football clubs, why don't they give them that opportunity to show that they can do it? Or
there's no closure, was there?
Exactly.
It's cutthroat, it's cut off, and people go, well, it is cutthroat. If you want to be a professional footballer, they get paid loads. It's bound to happen. It's a professional club. It's like, have you heard that? Have you actually heard what you're saying? It's like we're talking about, as you said, a lad for most of his life.
It's a schoolboy. Yeah, he's been used to every day that same routine: school, football, school, match day, things like that. That's all his life's ever been. And as you would be able to back up as well, if you've been used to a professional environment and you've been at Manchester City, if you're dropping down now to a League Two club and a League Two academy facilities, it's a big drop down, isn't it? You're going from millions to billions of pounds to
a few thousand,
to a couple of £1,000, which is obviously still a lot more money than grassroots, but it's still a big drop down. And then if you think about it, there's so many people, young lads who I know, who have gone from a Cat 2 academy, talking quite a lot of money, drop down from there to the world of non-league football. And non-league football is, as you will be able to back up, is a great standard of football. You can't knock it. It is a very, very good standard of football. Yeah. And a lot of the players in non-league, I think, would do bits in League One, League Two. I honestly do.
100% agree with you.
If not higher, if they had that support.
That mental
And
it's that mental resilience. Yeah.
I honestly believe there's players in step 4 or even step 5 football who would do bits in League 1, League 2.
Because I used to have a teammate at Wingate University. They were NCAA Division 2 national champions about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
When we were there, it was like we were always in the nationals. We had a 6 squad. But one player who stood out, this is the difference. Luke Mulholland, he played for Real Salt Lake in the end in the MLS, played against Keane and Gerrard and people. On his day, top class. But the point was he had this mental steel and resilience that when he turned up, he was the best player on the pitch, no one else. And if something went wrong, it wouldn't shake him. Whereas people like me, I remember my freshman year, I was training with him and I was on a level, I was like up there with him in terms of quality, like up there. Like he didn't stand out. No. And yet something happened with my game over a 2-ish year period where coach stopped talking to me just weirdly, fell out of favor with starting. That got in my head. There was no support. It was like I had to work it out myself. And I'm not saying, going all cotton wool here with this episode, but there was like no support. I was 4,000 miles away from home.
Yeah.
And it's
and you're left to sit in your room at night worrying about all these things like what's after football. You know what I mean? What we're going to do next? What's the next kind of thing? You know what I mean? There's not that support. There's not that pathway that I think there should be. I think there should be a pathway or just a support. It's like if you get made, I think it should be the same in let's change it to another industry. Do you know if you get made redundant?
Yes.
From a job?
Yeah.
It's like being released, isn't it, really? It's like being released. It's not.
Well, the job centre help you out. That's the point, isn't it?
Yeah.
You sign on the dole. They provide the support mechanisms for you to find out what you're interested at. They help you write your CV.
Why doesn't the FA? How about this one? Why doesn't the FA, the Premier League, and the EFL Youth Alliance and the National League youth system? Why don't they come together and create the sound without you? I changed the word because I don't like the idea of it for young lads to go into, but like a job centre. This is my CV. I've been at Man City, or I've been here. I've been at these clubs. This is what I've done. This is my CV. This is my player CV.
It's like putting them on the market, isn't it?
Yeah, put them on the market, like a transfer market, but for youngsters. And on the end of everything, you haven't just got to have, I play football. I'm also really interested in being a personal trainer. I'm interested in being a physiotherapist. I'm interested in being an accountant. So then if someone can see it, let's say a physio can say, oh, look, this lad, look, he's been at Man United. Look, he must have had some top treatment in his time. He's interested in being a physio. He would have been in a professional environment. Yeah. My dream as a physio is to be in a professional environment. Let me get him on board, teach him what I know, and let's see what the professional standards are of a professional Premier League physio. Things like why don't the FA and the Football League and all these other academies come together? And I've said it all the time, and make some kind of job centre like that. You know what I mean?
We need to plug this episode. We need to tag in Soccer AM, tag in the FA, tag in the Premier League, the Football League.
We do.
We need to honestly get hold of them. Say, look, listen to this episode on a level.
We're not saying this is 100% how it should be. We're saying take bits from this and use this to improve the academy system for boys and for girls and for anybody else who needs help in the footballing environment. Me and you know, and they know how small of a percentage you're going to make it as professional footballers. We know this, but it's all right having that small percentage, but let's make that percentage bigger. Because I know there's quality, like me and you said, there's quality in non-league football who shouldn't be there.
100%.
They should be so much higher.
Well, look at Vardy. He was classic case.
Exactly.
There's loads more Vardys.
Vardy. This is what I've heard from people who have played with Vardy. Vardy wasn't even a standout player at non-league football, really. He scored, but you didn't look at him and didn't think he's going to be a Premier League winner. You know what I mean? He was playing in front of 40 people at Stalebridge. 40 people. With some probably me, you and the dog. That's it. And now he's playing in the Premier League in front of millions of people.
That's like he's smashing it.
And it's just like anything else. It's like if you can get hold of Jamie, imagine how good Jamie Vardy would be if you got hold of Jamie Vardy at 18 years old. And you could coach him in a professional environment full time instead of working in a factory. Imagine what you could do.
Messi better watch himself.
Exactly. Exactly. He needs to be checking his shoulder. You know what I mean? Honestly, it's there needs to be a system. And like I say, we need to tag them in it. We need to Let's hear a response from them. Let's see what they think about this. What's the point of an academy? What's the point of me having a physiotherapist, a strength and conditioning coach, a fitness coach, working extra runs and everything like that? What's the point of it? Because you could be physically in the best shape in the world, but if it's not right up here, it's a waste of time even stepping on the pitch. I've said it all the time.
Fire.
You know what I mean? It's honest though, isn't it?
Like how? So I want to just plug this right now because it's so relevant. And if people are watching this from high authorities and men who are struggling with mental health, this is totally relevant. I've created a program. It's not finished yet, but I am in the process of creating it, and it's called Enhancement. So we're called In Light in the Shadows because men struggle in the shadows. We hide in the shadows. We don't talk about our feelings. We've just started our first open men's chat group at Rebels Gym. It's a boxing gym in Nottingham called Enlisted. So I've called this Enhancement, and it's about optimizing your performance and your mental resilience. And so I've took topics from my life experience of being in America on scholarship, pro clubs as a kid, talking about rejection, talking about problem solving skills, talking about checking self-awareness of your own mental health, helping your teammates you can identify injury setbacks, coming back from big game loss mistakes, transitions into the professional sense, and exactly what we've just talked about last 10 minutes. So we're trying to fire that up, and then we're looking to partner with Long Eaton United Academy and try and run this out as a like a trial. And if definitely. It takes off, then we want to go hit every club as possible and deliver this so that people, lads are having that.
Yeah, I think, like you say, if you go to a professional environment, you have got everything you need. You've got the fitness coaches, you've got even flexibility people, all sorts. But yet, there's nothing to support you mentally. So what do we do? It's crazy. It blows my mind.
Well, what happens is you'll have your Luke Mulhollands as an example, who will make it, and then you'll have your Jeremy Wistons and me. So, yes, I didn't take my own life, but I'm telling you something, mate. Football, mate, I kicked a football since I could walk. It was my obsession, and everyone in my family and my friendship circles, that's what I've been known for my whole life is, Rory, the footballer or the athlete.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It's like my identity, my purpose. So then when that's rejection, it's like, well, who the frick am I?
Yeah. If this isn't me, what am I? You know what I mean? If this isn't me, if football isn't me, what am I? You know what I mean? It's like you've been through that. In 2 or 3 years' time, if someone says to me, right, football isn't for you, but I've been telling myself since I was 7 that football's me and I'm football. You know what I mean? It's that relationship, like being told that something that you have dreamed about and worked hard for is no longer there. But like you, could you, like we were saying, could you have been the next Jamie Vardy if you wanted to be? Did you work as hard as you should have done? Was you doing, even though you were still went into the semi-pro game, was you working as hard as a professional? You know what I mean? Things like this, these things which can help. Instead of going, like I know there's players who get to 18 and don't even drop into non-league. They just stop. And you know what I mean? These players, aren't they, who you probably know as well.
Yeah, I know.
It's even tragic. Younger than a 14-year-old who like gets told he's not good enough and then never wants to kick a football again. There's people who are out there, 9-year-olds who are just, football's not for me. And stop and blank that straight away. Like, that's one person's opinion. And it's onto the thing again of opinions and facts. Whoa. No one can give you a fact about yourself, really. Unless there's something really, really, no one can really give you a strict fact about you. Because there's only one person who knows facts about you, and that's yourself. You know everything. You know what I mean? You know.
Mate, fireworks. Exactly. We did say it was going to be fireworks. We did say.
Exactly. I forgot about it as well. Fireworks have been going. I didn't realise bonfire night was over a 3-day period now as well. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, do you know what? They're all. I heard some tonight, and I looked to my missus and went, "Oh, is this year been that bad? That bad that we're still setting them off on
fireworks?" Yeah,
mental.
It's crazy.
But on a level though, I just want to say, and this is not to undermine you. You carry so much stature for your age, mate, and I want to big you up publicly. Like you carry yourself brilliantly, and I really hope and pray that your open-mindedness to mental health and resilience and will really help encourage your game and that you make it as far as possible, bro. It's sick. I'm loving what you're saying, and it's so massive. And like, I think I think helping people in the real world as well, like that opinions and facts is like
Yeah, it's like anything. It's
it's
like the
our
same.
it's our choice. Let's be blunt. It is
Yeah,
our choice. Like
yeah.
we did this training session at work, and it was all like on resilience. And the guy
Mm,
said, right, write down on one page stuff you can't control,
mm,
and write down everything you can control. And the only things on the sheet that says 100% factually in every way what you cannot control is the thoughts and opinions of other people. You
yeah.
can't stop or
No,
you cannot
no.
control or stop it.
It's like exactly that's the only thing you can't control. So why worry about it?
But we do, don't we?
Yeah, we do, and it's that thing again. Like it's all right saying why worry about it because I worry about it. You worry about it. We all
Yeah.
worry about it. But it's that kind of thing again. Why are we worrying about what the coach is thinking about me? Like if you've done something wrong in a game of football or in any sort of thing, if if I go and play tomorrow and corner's got I'm a centre half, a corner comes in, I miss a header and the striker scores, I know I've done that wrong. And that hurts me more if no one said anything to me.
Yeah.
But even if he doesn't speak to you, you still know he's thinking, I'd say something, I'd rather bring him next week and play him.
Yeah.
Or I'd rather start him. And you know that, but you can't control that. So instead of worrying about what he's thinking or worrying about starting the next game, why don't you go to training the next day, keep your head up high. You're going to get a bit of banter off like the lads.
Yeah.
You're going to get a bit of banter but instead of letting it get to you, turn it into a joke in a way, in a positive construct. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, turn it into make it smile about it, look at it, be upset, smile about it, move on, and go and put the wrongs right. And that's in every aspect of life. Instead of, you know what I mean? If I make a mistake, I'm gutted. But I try and wake up on a Sunday morning. After if I've made a mistake on a Saturday, and think it's done now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's done. I forgot
Good.
about it. The lads aren't going to forget about it, and it's going to come up and haunt me in 3 years' time when someone's going to bring it up. But
Yeah.
if I can say, well, yeah, in fact, I did make that mistake, but then a week later, we remember when we was drawing 1-1 and they scored in the 89th minute. You know what I mean? Something like
Shots fired. Shots fired.
Exactly. You know what I mean?
Man.
Remember when I cleared that one off the line? Oh, you didn't remember that one, did you? But you remembered the mistakes. Ooh. People always remember the negatives.
Oh man. Do you reckon it's because it's easier? Do you reckon it's easier to be negative? It's easier to focus on the negatives.
I think, especially men, I think they struggle to praise each other.
Why are we so critical? What do you think?
I think it's easier for me to say something negative to you as a man to man, than say something positive. I honestly stick with that and believe it. And I don't know why. And I think we could sit here all day, and everyone who's watching could probably sit there and probably thinking that, why do people prefer to be negative?
Yeah.
On a men-to-men basis, because we do. When has a man ever said to a man, "Oh, you look nice in that today," or "You're looking smart, mate"?
Usually, it's why? What are those?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then, if you see, this is obviously another example. If you see women, and they're one of them's wearing something, "Oh, don't you look good?" You know what I mean? Things like this, like, "Oh, you're looking good." When do you ever hear that from men?
No.
You never do. And if someone might be watching saying, "Well, my mate said this," but I've never heard it. And that's as a teenager. So it might be different in the adult world. But as a teenager, I can honestly say, I don't think I've ever been praised about your appearance or things like that by another lad. I just don't think it happens. I honestly don't. And I don't know why, but I think that's another thing we could try and focus on. Give your mate a bit of encouragement or a little bit of a lift. Even if like in a football environment, the best players, people might be thinking that he's crazy, but I honestly think one of the best players in the Premier League is Jordan Henderson. Not because he's a great footballer technically, because he's not. He's nowhere near as technical as half the players in the Premier League. But if you listen to what he says in the game, he talks his way through a football match by simply encouraging others. He should not be in Liverpool. He should not be starting for Liverpool, the best team in England at the minute. He shouldn't be starting. He's not good enough for that.
He's captain for a reason, though, isn't he?
He's captain for a reason, because he can talk his way through a match. I seen a clip on Facebook the other day, and it was Henderson just talking through their 5-0 win in the Champions League, and all you could hear was everything. Trent Alexander-Arnold, the young 21-year-old who everyone thinks he seems to be like, he's been around for years. He's only 21 years old. He made a mistake, and 9 times out of 10, a lot of captains would be shouting, "Oh, Trent, what are you doing? That's rubbish. What are you doing? You're better than. Hey, Trent, come on, lad, lift. Come on, lift. We're better than that. Let's go up again. You're better than that. You know you're better than that." You know what I mean? Things like encourage people. Come on, lad, you're better than this. Things like that. Why do we have to be so negative all the time as men?
Oh, mate, that's class. One to think about, fellas. I think we should have a more of a dish out and a culture of encouragement.
A culture of men. I think that's you know what I mean? The idea of what do you know, like you said with what did you say? You got told what you can control and what you can't control. Why don't you have like a men culture, a men kind of culture? Like, this is what we do, this is what we don't do. Why don't we do it? And why do we do this? Is it? I don't know what it is. Now you've got me thinking about it. It's crazy. Like, why do people? Honestly,
mate.
Honestly, even if you wear a hat, if you wear a different hat which you never wore before, 9 times out of 10, your mate are going to give you some stick for it. Anything different.
Oh, that's so true. That's so true.
Anything different. And do you know anything slightly different, or the slightest thing different? It could even be a different haircut. It could be a slightly shorter haircut, and you will get stick.
You dig them out, don't you? There's people that take the mic.
I do it. I do it to people. If a new lad comes in the change room with a different haircut to usual, I'm going to make a bit of banter. But why do we do that? It's crazy. It really is now thinking about it. But anyway, we'll move on. One to think about for you all. Anyway.
Deep. It's like Jordan Peterson level stuff without going deep. Love it.
Yeah, deep.
So what I wanted to talk about as well, let's big you up. And I know you're not here for this, but you've raised thousands, I believe, for Mind.
Yeah.
A bit like Paolo. So Paolo Piliero.
For the NHS Charities Together, which is obviously funded, all that money this sounds bad, but it doesn't go like to the NHS itself. It goes to the charities around the NHS. So you've got Mind, you've got all the other mental health charities, all the other, you know what I mean, getting sports back into local communities, which I'm so passionate about. Like, I'm so passionate about children and people playing football, people going to the gym. I think it's the best thing in the world because of the mental support it gives you. Like, in the darkest periods of my life, when I was 13, 14 years old, I lost my dad, and that was the darkest period of my time. And it's, how did I react to that? I wasn't upset. I didn't want to cry in front of my mates. I didn't want to look upset. But what I did is I started going to the gym. I started training. I started going out for runs. And people might think, oh, you know what I mean? He's not talking about it to people. That was my way of releasing my anger and my emotions at the time. Expressing how I felt about things through the power of exercise. And that's another thing I think everyone at home is, in this lockdown situation, don't let it stop you speaking to your loved ones. Don't let it stop you even seeing your loved ones. Meet one of your loved ones in the park. Meet your mates. Stick to I'm not saying break all the guidelines, you're going to get yourself a £1,000 fine. I'm saying do not cut off from the world, because it's easily done. I did it in the first lockdown. I didn't speak to some people for a couple of weeks, and I'm like, what am I doing? I was at school with them. I was at school with them a week ago. 3 weeks ago, and there was my best mate, and now I'm not speaking to him. It's that kind of thing where you've got to stay active. You've got to keep positive in these dark situations, and that's what I think is a big thing for everyone. Like, something which was the worst thing in my life changed my life to now make me be able to do these things which I would never even have dreamed to do. Like, I raised, like I said, not saying it to like big myself up, but I raised nearly I think it was over £9,000 for charity in May. And I look at it and I think, yeah, but how did I raise that £9,000? I did it by running 31 half marathons in 31 days. That's ridiculous. No one's ever done it before. It was a world record. The people have only ever done 18. That was the record before me.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and it's like I say, you can look it up, you can Google it and stuff. It's crazy how.
No, mate, don't worry. You're not like BBC. I don't worry. I believe you. I believe you. You're not CNN. I don't need to fact check you, do I?
No, not yet, mate. No.
Look, we don't hate the BBC. Like, just for our records, we don't hate the BBC. We're just having a bit of banter. It's fine.
No, it's lads banter. Another thing which lads love to do is banter. So it's like anything else. It's just that thing, how something which was so negative in my life
Yeah.
And which I was so confused about. My dad suffered really badly with mental health, and at the time, as a 13, 14-year-old, I didn't. This is why I'm here now, is talking about it, because it might help someone else. I didn't when I was 13, 14, I wasn't aware of mental health issues, but I was aware of a common cold, and I was aware of a sickness book. They teach me that in school. They teach me that, oh, if you're sick, oh, don't come to school. If you're ill, oh, take medicine, go and see the doctor. What did they teach you as a 13, 14-year-old about mental health? I can honestly say
If you
I got given.
feel angry, if you're
Yeah,
grieving, you know,
it's
if you feel
grieving.
depressed.
And people say, oh, there's counsellors at school. Yeah, there's all right having a counsellor at school. It's okay. But I'm not going to a counsellor for help, because we'll go back to this topic.
Come on, this is good.
What will your mates think if you go to a counsellor?
That you're a pussy.
And you're weak. Oh, look at him. Like, yeah. He's meant to be a tough tackling centre half. Well, he has a counsellor on Wednesday afternoons. You know what I mean? You're not going to do it.
No.
You're not going to do it. And it's like, why aren't we being taught in schools that you should exercise, live a healthy diet, eat well, you know what I mean? Do all these things to look after yourself, instead of constantly being, oh, you know what I mean? If you're feeling sick, go to the nurse. Where do I go then if I'm feeling upset, angry? If I've, like you say, if I was 13, I get released from playing football at a professional club, I have to go to school the next day. How does that, you know what I mean? Where's the support? You know what I mean? Where is this pathway, and where is this support? And even like another people we can say, let's see a response. Where's in the education system, the government? I want to see a change in the way that the government teach, and in the curriculum, mental health from a really, really early age. I honestly believe that is the way forward, is to get mental health taught in schools from an early age. And I'm not talking intense stuff like telling like the dark side, the really, really dark side of mental health, but you've got to be aware of, from an early age, I honestly believe, as a 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old, about your feelings and about what your feelings can do to you mentally and physically.
Absolutely. It
You know
works. I used to work in a primary school, and my role was a behaviour specialist. And I incorporated social emotional literacy learning. So I just to use an example, and I won't break confidentiality. A young boy, I can't name the school, him, for obvious reasons. He'd be kicking off all the time, absconding, chairs, tables, violence, everything, not accessing any learning. I did some social emotional literacy work, which comes under the umbrella of mental health. I helped him to self-regulate his feelings. I taught him how to share his feelings in a safe way. I taught him how to safely express himself with these, give him tools. I even got to the point where he could identify feelings in other people and not self-sabotage.
And then that'll make him such a better person.
And in 4 months, he was doing what I just described, to full-time accessing the learning, hardly ever kicking off.
Exactly. And it's like that thing, why can't we have lessons on mental health an hour a week? That's all I'm asking for, is honestly an hour a week where, even as a class, if they got together and all spoke about how they're feeling, spoke about the good thing which happened in their life, because sometimes good things happen and we don't appreciate the good things. Like, you could do something really, really good today at work. Like, say you went to work, you did something really, really good, and you wouldn't even give it another thought. But if you did something really, really bad,
it's on your mind.
Oh, it's on your mind all day, mate. You will not forget about that all day. And it's that kind of thing again. Why do we do that? Not just as men, as people. Why do we do that? Why do we forget the good things so badly? Like, I could go and score at the weekend, and on Monday I forgot about it. You know what I mean?
Absolute bullet header.
But then, if will anyone else bring up during training? Oh, anyone remember the goal Josh scored at the weekend? No. But if I made a mistake, how many times is that going to come up? It's again that kind of stigma. I think that's the right word. It's stigma of how we react to negative and positive situations. It's like I say, it's interesting.
It is, mate. But the answer is exactly doing this. This episode is the answer. Not that we are the only answer, and Enlighten the Shadows is saving the world. No, it's not. But even just having this chat, I'm hoping that people watching can relate. And I'm really believing that
it's only one person watching. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, there's these platforms which could go and get. It means nothing to me and to you. I know it doesn't, because we've had this conversation the first time we ever spoke. Like, you could go. This video could go and see 10,000 people. who view it on YouTube for 5 seconds. They could click on it, hey, oh, he's talking rubbish, and swipe off it. If there's one person who sat here now and watched this all the way through to this part of the video, and this is benefiting them in a positive way, I'd rather there be one view and one person helped than 100,000 views and no one helped. You know what I mean? So it's that kind of thing again. How,
yeah,
like you've said it, you've said it to me the first time we met. I remember it. You said, literally said, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was like, I'm not in it for myself. I'm not in it for me to be like the picture of Enlightening Shadows and to be like, oh, look at me. You're in it to help other people. You're giving up your time on a Sunday night, not getting anything from it, to record this to help somebody. It's things like that. It's that platform of support. You know what I mean? That way how one person, if we can positively help one person a video, if you can help one person a video, you are doing a good job, because one person a video is 4 people a month, which is, I'm not even that good at maths, but a lot of people a year, which is a lot of, and you know what I mean? It's things like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's that knock-on effect. I think that's the right way. It's like, if you start treating your mate differently, instead of ripping him every time he comes out with a different haircut, then maybe he might start doing that to another one of his mates who you don't know. And then he might start doing it. So no, it's that knock-on effect. We've got to pass on that positive vibes. If I started training, going to the gym. And I remember I was probably 14, 15. I started getting I started getting good results. I started losing weight. I started toning up a little bit. I maybe put something on my Snapchat that I was at the gym 3 or 4 times a night. Someone might pop up to me on Snapchat. Oh, you're at the gym. You're at the gym. Oh, wait, why are you at the, you know what I mean? People start paying interest to you like they are now. There's people watching us now who won't even like the video. They won't even share it on Facebook. They won't even comment that they're watching it, but they might be watching in silence. People watch in silence, and then it gets to a stage where they no longer want to watch in silence and they want to join in.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I know what I'm trying to say. So like the way me going to the gym didn't just help me, it helped 4 or 5 of my friends who now train with me at the gym. You know what I mean? See what I'm trying to say? And then their lads, they've got mates and family members who are now training because they've seen their results. And it's that knock-on effect in any aspect of life, not just about training. If you start treating someone good and treating someone well, 9 times out of 10, they're going to treat you good and well back. And then they're going to treat someone else. You know what I mean? It's that knock-on effect. We all have, as people, as humans, what I call like a sheep mentality in a way. We will do what it takes as men, especially young men, as teenagers, to fit into that crowd. You know what I mean? We'll do what we can to fit in. Like, we'll all get the same, we'll dress the same. Not many times as a group of mates is there going to be loads of people dressed in completely different clothes.
That's so true. We all got the same barney, same trim, fade.
Same barnet, same skin fade.
Tight collar, tight yeah, man.
But then you have, if you look at another friendship group, I guarantee you they're different to you.
Yeah.
But they're all the same. And it's that kind of thing again. You go around the people who you feel most comfortable with.
Yeah, it's like tribalism, isn't it?
Yeah, it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that. You should be able to all be together and we're all one people. Like, you know what I mean? All one community, all come together and just, who cares if he's got no hair and I've got a full dreadlocks? Who cares?
Yeah.
We're all, you know what I mean? You might be best mates, but you won't dare show your best mates because there's this kind of stigma once again that, oh, he's different to me, I'm different to him, he's from a different country to me, he's from a different side of the city to me, we can't be mates. You know what I mean? It's really, really weird. And it's men again, it's mainly men for me as well, who seem to judge people just because
fear of rejection, isn't it?
You
know what I mean? They don't want to be rejected.
Would you
stay safe?
Would you walk up to a man in a bar and think, oh, you know what I mean? See someone struggling with something, and or he's on his own. Oh, do you want to come with us, mate? Or if you're a man on your own, would you go to a group and be like, oh, can I join in, lads? You know what I mean? I'm on my own kind of thing. You're not doing it.
No.
Because what happens if they turn around and say no? Does that mean it's something about you which people don't like? And it's back onto the thing of opinions and facts again. They might turn around and say, no, you weirdo, what are you doing? I don't even know who you are. You're not a weirdo. You know what I mean? You're not a weirdo. That's an opinion. Well, it's not even an opinion because they don't even know you, so they can't make an opinion on you because they don't know you.
Oh my gosh, the guy's preaching.
Exactly, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
There's so many other things to it, and it's not just about. It's just again, once again, it's facts and opinions in every aspect of life, every job, Everything you
So
do on
true.
a day-to-day basis is an opinion or a fact. You know what I mean? It's how do you start your day? You start your day wrong. I start my day right. I hear it all the time. I see it on like these well-being groups and stuff on Facebook.
Is it? Yeah.
People arguing about how they start the day. Oh, I have a meal for breakfast.
Did I make my bed?
Yeah, did I make my bed? Oh, you don't make your bed in the morning? That's wrong. Well, it's not. If that works for me, I'm happy with that. You know what I mean? It's an opinion once again. Oh, just because he don't make his bed in the morning, he can't be bothered to make his bed. He's obviously not going to be bothered to go for a run, or he's not committed to his job. It doesn't work like that. It's all about opinions and facts. What works for you? What works for me? What works for you as an individual? And facts, like I say, there's very, very rarely that someone can give you a fact about yourself. Very, very rarely. Without any sort of evidence.
Mate.
You know what I mean? You can't argue.
How are you feeling right now? Oh,
I'm buzzing.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I reckon, and I don't want to be like anyone. I'm roaring. We're doing Light in the Shadows. We're unique, but like I feel like this Joe Rogan vibe. We could just like 3 hours, just be like this for a long time. Just
we'll have to do it again. We're gonna have to do it again. We have to have a subject. Because at the end of the day, I'm at that age as well where I'm still young. I'm still 16. I was at school this time last year. I was preparing for my exam. You know what I mean? It's literally that's how young I am. People always forget. Like people always say to me, "Oh, you're still a kid," which I am. But it's important that someone like me, like at school, like with my mates, if they see this, I know some of my mates are going to see this. I'm gonna have a dig at me for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, of course they will. Yeah.
Why aren't you doing this on a Sunday night when you sat in front of a screen talking to someone wearing a red hat? You know what I mean? Talking.
Mate, looking with his red hat.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Talking friends and all. You know what I mean? You're gonna get it. It's banter, but it's like I know, friends and all this. You know what I mean? It's the kind of thing you're gonna get. But it's just, there's people who we know and people who I know as children or as teenagers or adults which are coming in, young adults.
Yeah.
We do not get taught about mental health or even physical health. Very, very rarely at school did we get encouraged to go to the gym, exercise, look after your mental health, meditate, things like, you know what I mean, silly things like
it does make you wonder, doesn't it? Like
it makes me wonder about the system.
We're going down a rabbit hole almost, and we might not run out of time for this, but we will. And I think when we meet next, we'll do this and we'll go deep about the rabbit hole. But James Carter, he's like head mental health of programs for the NHS in Hampshire, and so a top guy. He was in episode 13, and we started talking about the rabbit hole of society and the institutionalization, the mechanisms. He talked about the power of the internet and how social media is designed to make you the product and addict you, and we don't have consent and all these things. And I just think why is the establishment, why is the institutionalization of education the way it is? Why don't they teach us about money? Like truly, I'm talking like mortgages, budgets, really in depth, so what the game is.
Obviously I did my exams didn't actually do my exams, they got cancelled, but I was preparing for my exams and did my mock exams, and I remember walking out of my mock exam thinking, I said it to some of my mates because a lot of my friends was talking about money, and my friends really, really wanted, their dreams was to be rich, have their own businesses, have these big cars. That's what they wanted, and I'm not gonna lie, I want the same. I want to be happy, healthy, and have a good family, good mental state, and have money. I want to be, you know what I mean, live a good, healthy life.
Yeah.
And I think about it, and I thought, I was walking out this room thinking this, and we were just having this conversation just before our next exam, before break. And I thought, I'm going into this exam, and I'm going to be able to tell you at the end of this exam about the algebra question, or about faces of a pentagon, things like this. But that's meant to be maths. But I couldn't tell you right now, as a 16-year-old teenager in the UK, how to insure my car if I get a car, how to get a mortgage, how to I don't even know how to open a bank account. All these things which I've been through the school system and I've only just come out of the education system, and I'm still in the education system now for 2 years as part of my football.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't even know how to do that. So why aren't I being taught about money?
It makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Do they have a plan not to have money when I'm older? Do they have a plan for a different type of society? What is going on? Why don't I know how to open a bank account? Why don't I know how to get a mortgage on a house? Why don't I know these simple things? And I've literally, it's not like I've forgotten it. I've just come out of the school system. It's crazy. It honestly blows my mind. Like, I know how to, at school, I used to write essays about William Shakespeare and about all these poems and stuff.
Yeah.
But I never wrote a CV. I never wrote a CV at school. English was my best subject. I was really, really good at English, behind PE, obviously. I was really, really good at English. I could write you a great response to a poem or something like that, but I couldn't write you a CV because I've never been sat down and told to get a job, you need a CV. You need a good CV, in my opinion, to stand out. But I've never been taught how to write a CV.
How to attend an interview.
Life skill.
Effectively.
Yeah. Speaking, public speaking. Do you do any public speaking at school? No.
I did at uni for a course, but let's be honest.
You know what I mean? At uni, if you didn't do that uni course, you would have never done any public speaking.
Exactly.
Unless you volunteered to go up in assembly, which I actually did a few times, and you can imagine the banter I got from that. You know what I mean? Like, you can imagine it. A lad who's meant to be this, and it was actually talking about mental health as well in an assembly in front of about 800 people.
Oh, even better, mate.
And it's like, you know what I mean? My mates, for the whole time I was up there, all I could hear was my mates howling, laughing, absolutely laughing. And it's because it's that stigma once again. Oh, Josh is talking about mental health. You know what I mean? It's like that kind of thing. Like, do you know if me and you had a chat and met us up as two men and let's have a talk about our mental health as mates, we couldn't do it. We really, really struggled to open up and talk to one of each other about how we're struggling.
Or it might put you off from meeting up that mate. Like, it's all intense. Every time I meet him, it's about how my mind is.
Yeah, and it's stuff like that. We don't seem to talk about it. It's very, very rarely that men come together, put their arm around each other and say, mate, is everything all right?
I think it's about time that we do, brother. I think it's time that we do it. Encourage one another.
Encourage one to be there for your mates. It's all right saying, I see it all the time, like these kind of things, I'm there for my mate. You know what I mean? I've got my mates back. It's all right having your mates back if someone kicks off and you have a scrap. But I know something 9 times out of 10, which is more likely to hurt your mate than a scrap. It's the mental side of things. Because a scrap might last 10 minutes. Your mental thoughts are with you for 24 hours a day. Even when you're asleep, your mind's still going, and you're still. You can have nightmares. You can have. You know what I mean? It's all right having your mates back. I'm not saying you've got to follow your mate everywhere. I'm just saying every now and then checking on him. Is he all right? You know what I mean? Is he suffering today, or am I suffering today? Things like that. You know what I mean? Just look at your mental health just as much as you would your physical health. There's no good having your mates back. You're not going to be there for your mate when he's suffering, sat in his room on his own, not knowing what to do next. You know what I mean? It's things like that. Definitely.
Bro, this is fire, man. We're running out of time, man. I want to ask you one last question. It's what I love about talking to you tonight is like I haven't had to ask you many questions. It's been so we have an Enlighten the Shadows question and we try to ask it every time. So a bit off the cuff here. So for any bloke or young lad that might be watching this, who feels utterly hopeless and just feels like ending it all, like, you know, sadly, like Jeremy Wisten, can you give one short of piece of advice for that bloke or lad?
For me, no matter how low you feel, there's always somebody there for you. It doesn't matter. You can feel like there's nothing there for you anymore and that life's not worth living. Throughout this lockdown period, I don't care what anybody says, everyone's going to be thinking the same. At some point during this, people are going to be thinking exactly the same. Do not suffer in silence. Reach out to us. Drop us a message. You've got us on social media. Speak to you. Go for the advice that you need. Come down to, like you say, Rebels Gym once you're allowed again. Speak to people and you'll realise that you're not just you suffering on your own. There's thousands, I dare to say millions of men and young lads suffering. You're not on your own. And like I say, it's never too late. There's always going to be
Come on.
light at the end of the tunnel. So just keep being positive and just smile. That's the main thing for me.
Come on. Oh man, that's Josh Burkitt, mic drop. Fellas, this has been sick. We're gonna have to get him back on. So thank you everyone for watching episode 20 with Josh Burkitt. And before we say bye to you all, just to plug a few things that we're on with. So hit that subscribe button. As Josh said beautifully earlier, I think thankfully he sees my heart. Like, I'm not into getting famous. I'm into making men being better famous. The more we can get out, the more subscriptions on YouTube, the more clout we can get, the more blokes we can change, help transform and empower them to better lifestyle. So pause this quickly, subscribe. It takes 1 minute to get a YouTube account. Also, I've talked about Twitter and Instagram earlier, but one thing, and how to click and donate on Buy Me a Coffee and Patreon. But what I really, really want to stress is, if you've been impacted by this episode, if you feel like, yeah, man, like Josh, Rory, you really are relating to what you're saying a lot. We have a men's mental health private group. It's in Light in the Shadows, but on Facebook, if you click at the bottom, it's like got groups. So it's a group, it's a private one. We've got some rules on there, so we stay on topic, but we keep confidentiality. Not once ever has anyone ever laughed or dug out or took the mick about any person's personal sharing. Not once. Every single post is encouraging in response to someone's struggles. It's a beautiful place, so make sure you get on that. I can't stress it enough. What that also does is signpost when all this craziness with lockdowns is finished, is enlisted, which are men's open chat groups. So that's how we get in person and chat real. We are looking to set them up all over the country or even internationally if needs be. So if you're interested in speaking openly in front of blokes and you're not in Nottingham, just contact us, man. We'll get in touch and we'll try and provide the structures and strategies to support you and get it started up. So don't suffer in silence. Take Josh's advice today. I've enjoyed today massively. Can't wait for it to come out. And we appreciate you all. So
very much.
Josh, mate, thanks, bud. Guys, have an amazing week. This has been episode 20 with Josh Burkitt. We've talked about rejection, what are facts, what are opinions. It's been a banger. FA, if you're watching, hook up with us. We want to work with you. We're not here digging you out or slagging you off.
We're here to work with you, not against you.
Absolutely. We're here to highlight things, just as Sam Oldham has in episode 19 with British Gymnastics. God bless, guys. See you later.